So, can you tell us a little bit more about the new people then coming in, the three waves of volunteers that you talk about in the new book, and also would be interesting to know how we would, I guess, recognize some of these people.
You wouldn't recognize them. They will know themselves. That's where the emails keep from coming in. They'll say, I know, I'm first wave, I'm second wave, because finally it's making sense to them. Right? Remember, these are people who had the memories erased when they came in. When they were asked to volunteer, they'll say, oh yeah, I want to go help. And one woman in one session, she said, I stupidly raised my hand, not realizing what it was going to be like if they'd never been in a human body, because it's all dense and heavy when they get here. No, the first wave, we figured started being born somewhere around the end of World War II. So they'd be in their 50s, early 60s, 40s, those age groups. And they really don't want to be here. They don't like it. They don't understand the violence. They don't understand, they don't like it, they don't understand it, they don't understand strong emotions like hate and anger and fear. It frightens them because they've never experienced it. On the planets and in the places they came from, they didn't have it. It's an earth thing. So it frightened them. So they don't like that. And many of these people have good families, they have good jobs, but yet they've tried to commit suicide because they really don't want to be here in this world. And they're always saying, I want to go home, but I don't know where home is. I just know it's not here. So it's a feeling of confusion. And I have many, many of these clients coming to me that they don't really realize where it happened, where it's coming from. But during the session, they go back to what is their true home, and they realize they just came here to help. But that's the first wave, had it the hardest. The second wave, I guess you would say, would be in their 30s, 20s, somewhere in there. It's very hard to put exact dates on these. And they have it much easier. But with them, it's more like we're called an antenna, a generator, a channel of energy, positive energy. And they're the ones that influence everyone around them just by their energy. They don't know this consciously. But they come to me and they'll say, well, I want to know what I'm supposed to be doing with my life. And they're told you're not supposed to do anything, you're just supposed to be, just to generate energy. But they keep saying, I want to do something. They are doing something by just being and existing. And a lot of these people work from home. They don't want to be around people, even though that's what they're supposed to be influencing. They don't like to be around people. Many of these first and second wavers don't marry, or if they are lucky enough, they'll find one of their own kind. But they don't want to have children because they don't want to create karma. And children create karma. So they all fall into this age group, this categories. But many of them work from home, and they're very happy people, even though they're loners. But I asked one time, why did the first wave have it much harder than the second wave? They said that's because somebody had to be the forerunner. Somebody had to be the pioneer and set the trail so the other ones could follow. That's why the second wave has had it much easier, following in the footsteps of the first one. But I hear this so many times, people saying, I don't want to be here, I don't like it here, what's wrong with me? A lot of times doctors put them on antidepressants, but when they understand they're just one of these volunteers, it turns their world around. They know they're not alone.
And I reckon that these are people who are coming to all different cultures and countries around the world, obviously as well. But how many do you think we're talking about in total, Dolores?
Well, I've been told there's already been hundreds and thousands of these people born. So they said now they think we have tipped the scale and the world will not be destroyed because of all these souls that have volunteered to come in. So that's very good. It means we can do it.
So that's interesting. Where are we now then? As we mentioned before, there 66 years later. What is next in this process? Does this mean that, let's say, if we take the antithesis to a person that you currently have been describing, someone who's more heavy and aggressive, and someone who don't want to go along in these changes, what will happen with those people, Dolores?
They'll stay with the old earth. They'll stay with what they have created. Because they said the vibration and frequency, it's changing now. It's been changing since 2003, gradual process. But those who will not change their vibration to move on, it can't happen suddenly because it would destroy the body. It has to be done gradually. So if they're not going to change, we're not supposed to make anybody do anything. If they feel they want to belong, to stay with where they are in the negativity, that's all right. That's where they will be. But they said eventually they'll all get there. But there's not to worry about it. But those who I work with and I speak with, I have my own radio show, so there's many of these. They say they know something is happening. They know something is changing. They're the ones that are moving into the new earth, into the whole new wonderful thing that's happening right now.
So there's a schism, obviously, that you talk about. I've heard this in many different ways, obviously from other people as well. That it's a kind of it's a split that is happening because of a frequency change. Now, do you think that means that we actually have it's the same planet, if you will, that we're on, but these worlds will drift so much apart that we're going to have two different, than, if you will, human beings living on the same planet, but they won't interact with each other in the same way anymore. They might not even see each other. Is that what's happening, or would you describe it in any other way, Dolores?
Well, it's complicated to explain. Part of what you said is correct, and part of it is not. It's hard to understand. It won't be on the same planet. Those who have moved on will be in like two separate Earths, as the one moves into a new dimension. And the ones on the old Earth won't even be aware that the other ones have gone on. It is a separation in that way.
Interesting.
It's in the Bible, you know, from the book of Revelations, where it talks about the new heaven and the new earth. And that two people will be sleeping together, and one will be taken, one will be left. Two people working side by side, one will be left and the other taken. That's what it's talking about.
So you're talking about the rapture in one way.
Well, you know, the rapture is not even mentioned in the Bible, but if you want to call it that, that's what it is.
Interesting.
But, yeah, it is the same thing. It's just that when St. John had the vision on the Isle of Patmos, he didn't realize it was going to be thousands of years before the earth reached that point that it wanted to evolve on its own, to go into its own incarnation. So it's moving into a separate earth. And if we want to go with it, we have to change our vibrations and frequencies to match it as we separate the two worlds. It's complicated. That's why I've spent several years trying to get the answers. They told me you will never have all of the answers because they said they don't know. This has never happened before in the history of a universe, that an entire planet will move into another dimension.
And how do we go about doing that, Dolores, if we spend a bit of time on that in terms of people who might question what that means, raising frequency? Explain a little bit about that.
Well, one thing, it means getting rid of the ones, the new souls. Now, they're already there. The ones who volunteers, they're there. They're there to help us. The ones who want to join with this, the main thing you've got to do is get rid of old karma. Because remember, karma holds you back to the old earth. As long as you're in karma, you have to keep coming back again and again to the same place to repay the same lessons over and over again. So one thing to do is get rid of the old karma if you want to move on with the new earth. This means forgive. Forgive all those who have hurt you. So what if you had a bad childhood? So what if your parents were terrible to you? Let it go. It has no importance anymore as we move into this whole new future. So what if you have a horrible marriage? Let it go. This is very hard for a lot of people to do You have to forgive the other person, release them, and let it go. Then if they want to stay in that negativity, that is their karma. But at least you have moved out of it. And you begin to notice a change. See, I work with a lot of people with physical problems, and this is where it comes from, holding on to the old karma. You got to let all of it go if you want to move on. It's not easy, I know, but you have to do it. Then you have to forgive yourself, because it always takes two people to make all of this work. To release the whole thing, you've got to forgive yourself also. That's one of the big deals. Then, the second thing you have to do if you want to move with the new earth and change your vibration and frequencies, you have to let go of fear. Fear, they said, fear is an illusion. Fear is not real. Fear is for entertainment purposes only. But if you want to buy into it, okay. He said the only thing that is real is love. So if you move toward that direction, leave the fear and the violence and all the negativity behind, then you're moving into the new earth. And you'll notice the changes in your body and your life once you begin to do this.